Hello, welcome. My name is Bernardo Vargas. I am Dr. Nearshoring, and I want to thank you very much for joining me once again to Manufacturing in Mexico for Dummies. Today, I know it's been a long time since we talked the last time, since I had my last chapter. But I have good news for you. I have news I want to share. The trademark Dr. Nearshoring here in Mexico has been approved to me. I am the creator of that mark, that trademark, sorry, that brand. And of course I'm very happy for that achievement. And very soon, in my webpage, we're gonna publish what are the services that we will be providing with the including the name Dr. Nearshoring. So I hope those services could be interesting for you and helpful, mainly helpful. All right. The subject I want to cover today is what Mexican government can do to turn around or to offset the negative impact of tariffs put in place by the government of Donald Trump. As we know, April 2nd, Donald Trump issued tariffs for many countries. I think the charts that we saw that day, there were about 39 or 40 countries, and there are more that are getting tariffs. That's okay. Just to give you quick update where Mexico is in tariffs. We got the first tariff of 25% in everything. That was like the first action by Donald Trump administration. 25% Canada, China, and Mexico and everything. But then they said, no, not everything. If it is under TMEC, the North America Commercial Agreement between Canada, US, and Mexico, then no tariff. But because then inside the basket of exports from Mexico to United States and also from Canada, also from the United States to both countries, there are other goods that are not in NAFTA yet. But it's something that the countries can work. So that's an important action. Start. Companies work with government, work with Mexican government, and then in the end, the government of the three countries to include more and more goods to the free trade agreement to avoid the tariffs. But anyway, then the second are the tariffs. 25% over aluminum and steel. That's for all the countries that export aluminum and steel to the United States. And that's also applicable for Mexico and Canada, regardless of free trade agreement. That's in violation of the free trade agreement, of course. And then the third one is 25% over all the cars exported to United States and car parts, with the exception of the parts that are coming from United States are parts of material and are incorporated in the cars in Mexico or in sub-assemblies, and then the sub-assemblies are exported. Those are to be not tariff anything. In other words, zero tariff. So in summary, a quick calculation made by experts and the auto industry is that Mexico is going to end up paying 16%, which is a big tariff, but it's better than 25%. So, what are the actions for the Mexican government? The Mexican government must do to overcome. Well, first action. I wasn't quite clear on this, but then now that it's coming this subject to the conversation, 62% of cars, new cars sold in Mexico, are imported. So Mexico is a big exporter of cars. I think 2024 Mexico manufactured about 4 million cars, which of those, nearly 4 million, 390,000, 95 or something, nearly 4 million, 500,000 of those are sold in Mexico, but out of the 1.2 million cars, new cars sold in Mexico every year, the other 700,000 cars are imported. So the action is stop importing cars, because one of the main sources for these cars is China. So we have to stop this. Mexican government needs to establish tariffs to China, but high tariffs, 50% minimum. But at the same time, make a plan with manufacturers, with the car manufacturers already established in Mexico, that all the cars that are going to be transferred to be produced to the United States, now that manufacturing capacity must be used first by cars that are going to be substitute from import cars. So, in one hand, the government should implement the tariffs, but as a second action, the government and the automakers need to make a plan to replace the imports and manufacture those cars here. So, instead of exporting 3.5 million cars, we may end up exporting, I don't know, maybe 2.8 million, but the balance should be produced for local market. So in the end, the goal of the government should be some zero. Cars that are localized in Mexico minus cars that are exported. So the sum should be zero. That'll be a very intelligent strategy. However, what we noticed on Thursday when Presidenta Claudia Sheinbaum published the plan, and they had a meeting, a big meeting with a big the leaders of big conglomerates here in Mexico. It was awful, shameful, really. A wish list, very poor, just a wish list coming from something they call a Frankenstein, they call a Plan Mexico, which is just a wish list again. It's something, it's a bunch of wishes, things that we all know we need, the country needs, but there's no house. There's only, we're going to build capacity, electric capacity. How? Where are you going to get the money? The government is broken now. Private investors, they don't want to invest because they don't trust the legal system. Because all the judges and are going to be removed from the judicial power. So how are you going to do it? No plan, no actions. It's nonsense. So these recommendations are just for the general public and the citizens and everybody who's watching this program, so they understand there's things that can be done. And there are many, not even many, but there are media, reliable sources here in Mexico, like The Economist, El Financiero, that are talking about these possible actions to turn things around. Because if they do the last two actions that I mentioned, it's very possible they face off most of the impact from the tariffs from Donald Trump. But at the same time, there's other thing. It's very interesting. Third action. On Wednesday, Donald Trump announced tariffs 25%. Germany, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, everybody. Okay, guess what? The cars, 15 million cars, 15 million cars are, new cars are consumed in the United States. 7.5, more or less 50% are imported, 50% are produced, okay? Mexico exports to the United States about 3 million. We are the first exporter to United States, the first exporter of cars to United States. Then second, Germany. Third, Japan. Fourth, Korea. Okay, they are getting 25%. Where do you think they're gonna produce the cars to avoid the tariffs? So far, they're gonna have to take the tariffs. But if in Mexico, we're gonna be slowing down because we are also taking the tariff, but at the same time, we are covering that, we are trying to fill that available capacity with production for local market. We're gonna have available room for them to build the cars in Mexico, and instead of paying 25%, they're gonna pay instead 16%, which is, I think it's great, 9% less. And if there's capacity available, they are gonna have released anyway. They probably don't have to do a big investment in retooling their production lines. And even though, remember, in the other hand, if they start building new plants in the United States, that's going to take forever. A new plant, automotive, it takes at least 2 to 3 years. It's record. That'll be a record. It's 3 years minimum to have the first cars out. So I suppose many manufacturers are already thinking, hey, we're gonna put in place all these actions for Donald Trump, but probably at the end of the day, the Trump administration is leaving when we finish the first big investments. And then what's gonna happen? Then probably we will have a change, one more time, a change in the board, all the things across the board. So I think they have to be very careful, but I think this is a very good option for Mexico. I think we're gonna see probably some of this when finally in Mexico we go through in June the voting for the judicial power. Because I think if Mexico conducts that process clean and transparent, that's gonna show solid, a more solid situation regarding law, the application of law here in Mexico, and that the legal framework and the legal guarantees for the investors are going to be at least similar to the past. That is not going to get worse. So perhaps some investors may decide to come again. And right now it's April. From here to June or July, second half already, I think the investors are going to be following in detail and with a lot of attention how the exchange rate dollar peso is going on, the domestic growth, and if there's some signals that Mexican government is starting to invest and mainly collaborate with private local companies doing investment, sending a signal of trust and confidence, and some foreign companies. If that message is sent, I think that the rest of the year could play better and prevent that Mexico has a terrible recession that it's like now the forecast is coming from everywhere. So there could be light for the second half and opportunities for investment. Because right now, believe me, here in Monterrey, Northeast area, we have vacancy of buildings nearly 30, reaching 40%. Right now, it's a very good time for buyers. For very different to 1 year and a half, 2 years ago. The situation changed completely. Are some companies that are already moving out and emptying buildings. So I think this is the moment to see counterflow. Try to go counterflow. I know it's difficult, but it's possible. Well, that's the subject that I want to cover with you today. I hope you find it interesting. In the next chapter, I'm gonna have an explanation of the cost comparison, cost breakdown, an estimate of the cost of manufacturing in the United States with the tariffs. United States. Versus that same cost breakdown in Mexico with tariffs, and versus Germany, Japan, and Korea with the new tariffs. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see how my belief is that Mexico is still very competitive, and the decision of bringing investment and producing here in Mexico, even now, could be not too bad. My name is Bernardo Vargas. This was Manufacturing in Mexico for Dummies. I really appreciate your watching me, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.